because if the world economy gets better, commodities should do better because of shortages. If the world economy doesn't do better, then they'll print more money. I own some shares in Japan, I own some shares in Russia, I do own some shares around the world, but mainly I've invested in other things.
There is some sort of shale gas boom for the production of gas and oil from shale reserves in the United States. The Chinese have been buying. Would you buy as well? Is that a sector which is interesting for the next years for an investor?
Well, if I were going to invest, I would invest in the natural gas itself, because natural gas has come down a lot. The natural gas boom, there was a huge amount of drilling, but unfortunately what we're finding now is that the number of drilling rigs has gone down by 75% in the last year and a half, because these wells are very short-lived wells and they're not so profitable, it turns out. It's all sounded great at first. Also, the number of pumps to keep these wells going has dropped by 50% in the last year, because it's just not the bonanza everybody thought. The U.S. Department of Energy has projected that natural gas production will be up a little bit this year, but that it will be down in 2014. So the press is full of all of this talk about America's going to be energy independent, et cetera, et cetera. Out there in the ground, out there close to the ground, it's not happening quite the same way that the PR would have it. And apparently for oil, and the oil hasn't been going as long as the natural gas, but the oil wells apparently declined production by 38% in the first year. So right now everybody's running around doing all these drilling because it's so wonderful, but the production we're finding drops pretty quickly.
So this is no real game changer for the U.S. economy. So with a structural shift down in prices and everything will be good from that standpoint. Is that going to be?
Well, it's wonderful if it were true, and if it does last. If these wells, if we can solve the problem somehow, maybe it's a problem of nature. Maybe we cannot solve the problem, but if the problem could be solved, sure. Then there's a lot of shale gas in Europe. There's a lot of shale gas everywhere. China, Russia, Australia. No, it could bring the price of energy down a lot for everybody in the world, and then we would all be much better off. Now, this is not going to happen overnight, because in Europe they haven't even started yet, and in most of the world they haven't even started yet. So it would take a while for the production to come on stream. But if our experience in America is accurate, it's not a game changer at all. It's a short-term kind of thing, but it's not long-lived enough.
So when it comes to China, they got whole different problems than Japan, for example. Japan has a deflationary problem. They have low growth. In China, they have potentially too much growth and high inflation. So they're trying to fight inflation. Are they going to be successful? Especially in the housing sector, they said, okay, we are in sorrow about that.
Well, China has been trying to do something about its housing bubble, which has been going on for the last decade. And every 2 or 3 years, they try to tighten up and cool it off, and they do. But they never stay tight long enough, at least in my view. They never kill the housing bubble. And they've loosened up again. Will they solve the inflation problem? In my view, not until they make the currency convertible. One way to solve the problem would make the currency convertible, then prices could adjust, money could move in and out of the country, and then you would, right now all the money's trapped in China, so everybody puts it into real assets or into housing, and so it causes prices to go up. If the money could go in and out, then it wouldn't have that problem. Will they solve the problem? Yes, someday they'll make the currency convertible. By 2012, they'll make the currency convertible, and everything will be okay. I don't know why they haven't done it by now. They should have done it by now, but they have not.